Welcome to Dungeon Academics. I am Thomas, and I will be your instructor. That's the introduction that I've chosen for my videos on this channel. I hope it sets a tone for what I want to do, a scholarly discussion about the mathematics of games and how design philosophy affects the way we play our favourite games. This isn't actually the first video I've recorded. I've recorded 3 more for this channel already. They will be uploaded after this, but I thought it would be appropriate to have an introduction video so I can explain who I am, why I am doing this, and what I want to achieve. Who am I? I'm Thomas, as I've said. I'm a maths and physics teacher. My degree is in physics. I'm from the UK, but I live in Helsinki, Finland. I've been over here for close to 20 years now. I've played board games my whole life. One of my favourite hobbies is sitting down with friends and family and playing interesting board games. I got into Warhammer in the late 1980s and then RPG games as a teen. That must have been early to mid 90s. And, I even worked for Games Workshop for 7 years in retail, a job that I loved and made many friends through. I've been a teacher since 2003, working in England, Wales and Finland. This isn't a platform for me on a social level, so I'll say I'm married and I have 3 sons, and that's as much as I need to go into that on here. I play games a lot. I like to play board games with my friends. I play RPGs every week. Sometimes I DM, sometimes I play. I love creating my own material. I love writing stories. I love writing interesting game mechanics. I'm trying to write my own campaign at the moment. Maybe one day I'll even write my own game, and that will be part of this channel. But why am I making this YouTube channel? It comes back to a video from Matt Colville's channel, MCDM. He is currently writing his own roleplay game, the MCDM roleplay game, and he was talking about the dice mechanic they were using in the game. And this is absolutely the kind of thing that I enjoy listening to. And he mentioned something about large dice pools inevitably following a bell curve and losing out on randomness. And in an offhand comment, he said he could talk hours for this, but no one wants to be part of that conversation. And I thought, no, I want to be part of that conversation. That is exactly the kind of conversation I like to have. There are lots of amazing Dungeons and Dragons and roleplay game in general content creators, and I feel that they often deliberately avoid going into the maths details too much. There's a story about Professor Stephen Hawking. When he was writing his book, A Brief History of Time, his publisher told him, for every equation you include in the book, you will cut your readership in half. I don't think that's true anymore. I think that there are enough people on the internet, in the community of gamers, that want to have a conversation about maths, that might not mind seeing equations, and maybe they're not mathy now, but could use this as an introduction to maths. So yes, I feel that there are some conversations that are not being had, and I'd like to have them, and I'd like to make a place for other people that want to have these conversations. So this will be a place to learn about and discuss the intricacies of game mechanics, and how game mechanics and design philosophy tie together, how choices that designers might make without perhaps understanding the maths behind them, still affect how people play the game. There are plenty of channels already on character optimization, on storytelling, on DM tips, on how to write an adventure. But this is more about joy from the maths and mechanics of the games. There are going to be equations and spreadsheets, occasional bit of scripting for macros, though I'm not a programmer, I'll tell you that now. This is not going to be the lightest channel, but I will do my best to explain things step by step. So even if you are not as advanced in mathematics, I hope you'll still be able to follow along. What do I want to achieve from this? Well, a lot of this is about me learning things. Firstly, I want to be able to improve my narration. An important thing is pace and pitch. On the 3 videos I've already recorded, I find that at the start I have a nice steady pace and a calm, even pitch, and by the end of it, I perhaps move to a more conversational tone. This is something I wish to improve for myself. I also wish to temper my use of sarcasm, innuendo, profanity, and humour. So I will do my very best to remove all naughty words from my content, and as much humour as I can manage. To give you an anecdote, I was once voted the teacher with the best jokes and the teacher with the worst jokes by the same group of students. You might be thinking, oh, those are some pretty funny students, in which case I think I did my job well. But nonetheless, I will try to maintain a more serious tone in these videos, though the odd bit may slip here and there, for which either I apologise or you're welcome. I also want to work on creating inclusive, positive and honest material. Inclusive, simple steps to make it easier for everyone to access. Things like having a written transcript available for every video, having the handouts, graphs, charts, tables available for people to read. Positive, there are some channels that pump relentless negativity as a way to get traffic. That's not for me. I'm going to be honest, and if I don't like something, I will bring out its flaws, but negativity is not a great thing to have a lot of, and I want to minimize the amount I have in my life. So I will try and create a positive atmosphere here. There are also a lot of new skills for me to learn. Video production and editing. I find editing to be not the most motivating task. So what can I do to make the process more bearable and to minimize the amount of work that I do? In terms of production, I have quite a nice microphone already, but as far as a camera goes, I'm using the built-in camera on my iMac, and currently it's all the way up here. I'd like a camera at eye level so I can look directly at you and still read my material from the screen. I have a DSLR camera, but how can I set that up as an independent camera feeding directly to my computer? So there's hardware issues, software issues. What is the best software to use for this? I'm currently making my slides in Google Slides, then saving it as PDF, transferring PDF to JPEG using an online service, and then dropping the JPEGs directly into iMovie. I don't know a huge amount about video editing, but I've already learnt a lot just making these first few videos. This is something I'd like to know more about, and I'm hoping that people who watch this video will be able to give me some hints on how to improve it. I also love learning about the games that I play. As I analyse the mathematics behind the rules, I am discovering things that I didn't necessarily appreciate before. The maths of how rerolls works is actually quite interesting. The video on the fighting stylist was made because I found the formula for the great weapon fighting style that allows you to reroll 1s and 2s on damage dice. There is actually a really neat little algebraic rule that tells you how this changes the mean of a dice. I enjoy doing that. I enjoyed the process of writing about it and explaining it to other people. Finally, design elements of games. Games are a compromise. The rules you put in, the rules you leave out. By understanding these rules better, I have a better idea of what to put in my own game should I ever get to make it. I also take this as an opportunity to interact with a community. I have ideas about rules and ways to play games. This would allow me to get feedback on these ideas. I have a suggestion on a better way to roll ability scores for games like Call of Cthulhu and Dungeons and Dragons. I could make a video on this and get feedback on those ideas and adjust them to make the best possible set of rules. I also want to be able to create a place to discuss topics I find interesting. I have a wonderful set of friends that I love playing games with, but their favourite part of the game isn't always my favourite part of the game. I love playing with them and I find that our differences make the game better, but I also want to be able to discuss things with people that have the same opinions on 6 hours of algebra. Finally, I'd like to be able to find people that can support in making things I like. And I'd also like to be able to offer my support to other people. There are content creators who, as I've said, may steer away from the maths somewhat. Maybe I could be part of that conversation as well. Maybe someone is making a game or a handout, a supplement, and they're not quite sure how something could work. I'd like to be able to help if my skills align with their needs. So, that's what I want to do in the short term. Long term? Who knows? I'm enjoying making videos. I have more ideas of videos to make. Possibly how gravity could work in Dungeons and Dragons. There is a fairly basic set of falling rules. Is it possible to make a better set of rules without bogging the game down in too much maths and science? I'd like to talk about different types of core game mechanics, the advantages of percentile versus d20 versus dice pool mechanics, and how I might design a game to work with that. I'd like to make a video that talks you through my design process. That way, anyone else who wants to make videos can see what I do and decide whether I'm doing it right or wrong. And also people that have more experience can possibly give me certain hints along the way. I've tried several different methods for making videos. One of them had a full script that I read out word for word on camera. Other ones have had guidelines and ideas, and I've used those as a framework and talked around them. I've tried making it all up from scratch. I find I miss out certain ideas, and it's easier to have a framework to begin with than edit, go back, put new ideas in. So there are still things for me to learn and talk about in future videos. Anyway, that's who I am. Please enjoy my first 3 videos: the Fireball Fiasco, the Great Weapon Mystery, and the Fighting Stylist. I'd love to hear what you think. I hope my comment section will be full of positivity, fair criticism, and love for the games. Now, I've decided to say the same thing at the end of all of my videos. Whether it's cliched or not, doesn't matter. enjoy your next game, whatever it may be.